So which is the best trim level for the 4th gen Toyota Tacoma? Now, obviously, there's a lot of personal preference in this, but I'm going to give you my take as to why I think the TRD Sport is the best trim level for the Toyota Tacoma. First of all, you may notice and you may wonder, well then why do you have a TRD off-road? Which is what I have. And you can tell that not by the decals on the side of the truck, because I've removed them. Not even really, well, a little hint, it does have the black fender flares, but because there's no hood scoop on the truck. That is probably the #1 reason, and I know it's pretty petty, right? It's aesthetic at best. But I love the look of the truck with the hood scoop on the front. Honestly, and this is where the personal preference thing kind of comes into play, I am a fan of hood scoops anyway, so I'm a little biased when it comes to that. But I just think it makes the new Tacoma look tougher, meaner, more aggressive, sportier, hence the TRD Sport, right? Now, there is one issue, if I'm being honest, about having the hood scoop, and that is the flutter that it causes in the hood. Very noticeable when you're driving down the road at speed. If you happen to go through a car wash, you're really going to notice it, because those high pressure winds that dry your car really blow the hood around. It even happens with the TRD off-road and its flat hood, but it's certainly much more noticeable on the TRD Sport. #2 in my list of reasons why the TRD Sport in the Tacoma line is better is acceleration. I noticed right away when I had the previous truck, which was a Sport, by the way, I have had the Sport, it seemed quicker to me off the line. Little, if any, acceleration lag. I really like that. I'm a firm believer that when you hit the gas pedal, or what used to be a gas pedal, the accelerator, the vehicle, in this case the Tacoma, should go, right? There was a little bit, or is a little bit, of a lag without a throttle controller, which I have, in the TRD off-road that I did not notice in the Sport. It just seemed to be quicker. Maybe it's because it's a Sport. Maybe it's because it was a 4x2. It was not a four-wheel drive, so it was a little bit lighter. Maybe it's the way that they have the truck tuned from the factory. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I just happened to get a truck that was a little bit more responsive. But nonetheless, the Sport was quicker, better acceleration. #3, a firmer ride. The suspension setup in the TRD off-road, by design, is definitely softer than what we get in the Sport. And that makes sense, right? I mean, it's a Sport. When you think of sports cars, they're always firmer because you want to be able to feel the road for high-speed driving, or I guess more aggressive driving. And that really follows through with the Tacoma. I did notice that the Sport had a firmer ride than what I've got in the TRD off-road. At first, I actually preferred the TRD off-road, but honestly, after having it for a while, this version feels softer to me, and I think I prefer a firmer ride. And it's not so firm that it's going to beat the hell out of you on the road or anything. It just makes you feel a bit more connected. And I know a lot of this sounds like, well, gee, you're really talking more about a sports car. I'm not. I like to be able to experience these things in any vehicle I'm driving, even a pickup truck. #4, tighter handling. This kind of goes along with the firmer ride, right? It seemed to have a little bit tighter control, I guess, going down the road, both in steering and in the way that it corners. In other words, when you're going around a sharper bend, or maybe even a smoother bend, it just seemed to almost grip the road a little better, if that makes sense. And it's not a tire thing. I mean, I wasn't doing 120 around a curve that's really designed for 40. It just felt more connected to the road as far as the feel, the firmness feel that I had in cornering, the way that the truck kind of rolls a little, not much, and in the steering. I prefer that. It makes for a funner ride for me. Again, a personal preference kind of thing. Number 5, I want to experience a hybrid. Now, I say I want to experience a hybrid. That kind of foreshadows maybe something that's coming. I think what I'm going to do is maybe, a lot of ifs here, maybe trade off the TRD off-road for a sport 4x4 hybrid. Now, there's two main differences there as compared to what I had before in the sport. I mentioned it was a 4x2. I would be getting a 4x4. Big difference really, of course, in weight. So it would be interesting to see if that truck actually had that kind of lag to it that this one does because of the extra weight or not. I suspect that it will not, but we shall see if I go that route. Secondly is the hybrid powertrain. You know, I'm a big fan, as you might be able to tell, and you certainly would know if you watch the videos on the channel, of acceleration. I like to go when I hit the accelerator. The hybrid, at least from all of my research, is quicker. It's got more torque, and it's got more horsepower because of the hybrid motor, right? So I want to experience that in my journey through the different Toyota Tacoma models. And you see, that's the difference between me and a lot of other people that make these kind of videos, right? I actually buy the trucks. I don't go out and borrow them for a couple weeks or something and then proclaim that I have this vast knowledge of a truck that I don't own and haven't driven for long. I actually experience them, own them, do things to them, do things with them. So it gives me a little bit more insight, I think, than a lot of the talking heads out there that just bring vehicles in to review or even run over to a dealership, take it for one test drive, and then claim to know everything about it. Now, the one concern, of course, that everybody has about the hybrid powertrain, as well as the 4-cylinder turbo, is longevity. Are problems? Is it going to last? Are there any issues? You know, one thing that you lose with the hybrid, of course, is the storage space underneath the back seats, because that's where the heart of the hybrid is, the battery, the wiring, all that stuff. So you lose that part. Kind of a bummer for me. I would have to think of maybe some way to utilize a different area. I do have a tonneau cover on the truck, so maybe there's a system I need to have in the back to be able to store stuff. The only issue with that is heat. Of course, it gets hot inside the truck down here in South Texas anyway. We're pushing 90 degrees out here right now, and I'm actually a little chilly with the breeze. Anyway, I just wanted to get on, kind of give you my opinion as to why or what is the best trim level for the Toyota Tacoma. For me, it is the TRD Sport. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.